Hey everybody, and welcome to The Void, a show dedicated to filling the void between being an employee and becoming self-employed. Most people refer to starting your own company as taking the leap, as if they're blindly jumping off a cliff and into the unknown. This show is here to help you understand that it doesn't have to be that way. As always, if you like what you're hearing on the show, please do us a favor and share The Void with someone else who might be wanting to start their own company. We saw an opportunity to help others understand that self-employment is well within your reach, and just as our businesses have grown organically and by word of mouth, we want this show to grow the same way. So if you see somebody asking questions about starting their own service-based business, please do us a favor and send them a link to the show. I'm your host, Mitch Smedley, and with me as always is David Hilton.
Well, what do you want to talk about?
Well,
you know what? Wait. I have to tell you. Go ahead.
I still had my spy balloon decorations up. I was not prepared for school shooting. I don't know what to do with that.
Okay. So. That's not where I thought you were going to go with that, but I was going to start the show by telling you something really stupid I did.
Uh-oh. You didn't sink another skinning knife into your leg, did you?
No. Another completely moronic, idiotic thing. That's not why I'm in a bad mood, but this is completely different.
You came to my house to record a podcast.
That's actually the good stuff. Me, Dave Hilton, 41 years old, okay, have just signed up to play adult.
Oh, intramural something.
Intramural soccer.
Oh, shit.
On a full field.
Great. He's in a body cast next show.
11v11, and I haven't ran in like 2 years.
You're fucked.
I am double fucked because not only am I double fucked, not only is it not over 40, it's only over 30. And the division,
the old guy.
I didn't realize it. No, there's a guy. The guy that got me to sign up is 46. He played college soccer. He's like, no, I won't be bad.
He played college soccer.
So I commit to it. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. I mean, I can run. Don't get me wrong. I said I haven't run in 2 years. That's not true. I can run, right? I'm an athlete. I can fake my way through it, right? But then he tells me that we're in the top division, like the top. I'm like, dude, and I've already paid. I'd already signed up. He's telling me all this stuff. I'm like, I fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, I fucked up bad.
You done screwed up.
And it starts not this Friday, but the next Friday. I said, do you guys at least have like a couple practices or like? He's like, no, we just show up and drink beer and play. I was like, oh fuck.
Oh, well, if it's a beer league, then you're a little okay.
Like 2 of the guys drink beer.
Okay.
The rest of them are super serious.
Yeah.
I was like, so if I play and run for 15 minutes, am I going to be able to get out? Like, be like, I'm done. I want to, sub. He's like, oh, yeah. He's like, it's a fight to get on the field. I was like, oh, that's the only.
How many guys are on the team?
I don't have any idea. It's 11v11.
Yeah, so they got like 13 guys on the team, and you get no rest.
Fucking throw up on the sideline. Hey, where'd Dave go?
No, like Dave shows up and he ends up having to be the coach because everyone else just doesn't have.
Oh, there's no coach. There's no coach. There's no. I mean, I said, well, do we like get some jerseys? He's like, no, wear a black shirt. I was like, oh. Okay.
A pile of puke on the field is really good defense. Is really what it is.
Well, there's going to be at least one. Maybe some piss. Maybe some blood. I don't know what's going to be out there.
So was the football field in Arizona.
Yeah.
Dude, I was all gung-ho. I like to exercise. I used to play like intramural soccer, and then we played in an intramural indoor football league. Like, and I thought, oh, it'll be fun. I played indoor roller hockey for like 2 years. I like that stuff. And then I got to thinking about it, and I was like, man, I was like 25 then.
Yeah.
I was 19 then. I was 28. I'm 41. If I come in here in a full body cast.
Yeah. Your mind thinks you're 19.
Yeah, my mind's dumb.
Yeah.
My shit's soft.
Your body's already beyond 40.
I'm fucking scared to death.
Yeah, you should be.
I am fucking scared to death.
Good thing your wife works in a hospital. She can at least take care of you.
I'm gonna get some fucking Aflac, I think.
Yeah, you better.
Like, can't work for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Fucking, Mitch, can you help me? I mean, what am I going to do? Even if they're writing me checks,
I'm going to make you an employee of Smedley Plumbing so you can get on our Aflac policy.
Is that an option?
It might. Chat with Danielle afterwards.
I don't know what I'm going to do, but I am seriously, I'm scared the fuck to death. I thought it would be like Epic has adult leagues and they're like 5-on-5 indoor
small field.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's like that. He's like, oh no, it's full field.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean full field? I was like, the kids field like that we watch like right here. Like, so his daughter and my daughter are on the same team.
Yeah.
I was like, so like this? He's like, oh no, it's full field. Like I think he could see the panic.
What's a football field? 100 and 20 yards long or something
A
like
soccer's like 120 by 75.
that. Yeah.
Like
God.
I know he could see the panic on my face. Like, I mean, I was just,
I mean, way more
fuck.
cardio than football, and even more than
fuck.
track. Because I mean, like with soccer, you're stopping, you're having to like full sprint and then stop and like kick a ball and then turn the opposite way.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, so as far as cardio goes, like right as of now,
All right, so
I'm in
this
better
is
cardio
Dave's last
shape.
show. He died of a heart attack.
No, it's the next Friday.
Oh, okay,
I got one
okay.
more show.
We gotta
This
plan
is
his
Dave's
funeral.
second to last show. He died of a heart attack in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
What song do you want played? You know, let's get your.
one of mine. Pick something
One
off
of-
my CD.
Some one of yours. Got it.
Pick something good. I want to be buried with this blue one
There we go.
because I built this one.
All right.
The rest of them are going to be Layla's. So
Well,
I
it's
don't
got a
care.
half-naked lady on the tops.
Damn right it does.
Like his high achievement was basketball player in high school 30 years ago.
I didn't.
You're talking about
That's
in-laws.
bad.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Been there.
No, so
Well, aside from your
I'm panic
foolish
stricken.
decisions,
Yeah.
we got 3 topics for today.
Okay.
Topic 1 is free ice cream.
Okay.
Topic 2 is the moment of truth. And topic 3 is accidental narcissism.
I thought you were going to say insemination.
That's artificial. Artificial narcissism. I mean, insemination. Yeah.
I thought it could. I mean,
Accidental. Yeah. Oops.
I
Thought my pullout game was strong. Sorry.
gotcha.
All right, so you've newly started your company and you're trying to pinch pennies. However, you don't realize the biggest thing that's hurting you right now is not gathering all of your information into one spot and making it super efficient for you to use. So the answer is Field Pulse. It gets you off of paper tickets. It gets you off of all of that crazy office work at the end of the day and reconciling all that stuff. And it lets you organize everything with ease. It puts it all into the computer. It actually puts it all into the cloud. So it's not even putting it on your computer. And it lets you organize your customers. It lets you organize all of your service calls. Heck, it'll even route you to your service call. And the best part is, even after all of that, you'll probably realize about a 100% growth in your business just in the first year of using Field Pulse. So if you'd like to check out Field Pulse and see what great looks like, click on the link in the description of this show.
What is that?
We had a tragedy in America.
We can talk about the kiddos.
Another school shooting. And for anybody that's listening, these are never going to go away, ever. Like, there's no way you can stop them all.
I can hear it right now. Take away the guns.
In order to
right.
have freedom, you have to have chaos.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Little
going to
bit
be
of it.
a little bit. Now, like, that's not to say we encourage any of this.
Yeah.
Like, nobody would ever do that. But, there will be a time frame between this one and the next one, and that time frame will never be long enough. And they're all tragic. So it's just weird how the politicians and the media tries to spin everything. But we got our head politician, the representative of our country, who
David Hilton. Oh, sorry.
Oh God, no!
Not,
I
dude,
don't
can
think
you imagine if I was president?
we'd have that catapult.
First
and
off,
churros.
First off, the catapult's low on my list, but there would be a lot of glass nations. I mean,
Yeah.
like right out of the bat, it'd be like, "Hey, where's the box?" I mean, I'd be launching missiles so fucking fast.
I mean, that'd be great because the country would just close at 5 p.m. every day because you're like, you guys figured out from here. I'm going to go spend
Yeah.
time, you know?
Yeah.
Like, heck yeah.
So the president gets on national TV to address the nation about this thing.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't?
Biden?
Oh my! You gotta watch it.
I'll watch it later. Captain D-Bag himself, huh?
I mean, Biden probably needs to watch it.
He
to see if
literally
doesn't remember.
started his speech talking about how he got lured here because he was told there was free ice cream, and he's got a whole freezer full of free ice cream. And
Wow. That's what the title means on my
can you
record.
imagine being the parent of one of those kids,
and that guy's joking around.
and that guy's joking around
Yeah,
about
he's a
fucking ice
fucking
cream?
joke.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
He is a fucking joke.
Yeah. Like,
It's unbelievable.
it's
The lack. Speaking of narcissism,
right.
the lack of empathy.
Topic 3 becomes topic 1.
Fucking the guy.
Right.
What do you want? Let me ask you a question, Mitch. Serious question. Do you want me to be mad about the kids or mad about the president? I
Well-
can only handle one.
Right. So that's the thing. It's like, okay, the president's a joke. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on with him. There ain't nobody that's going to respect the idea that you're going to address the nation about a school shooting and open it up with that. right?
No.
I mean, you can be so both things are true for me. I'm like, you could be upset that obviously the kid's like a tragedy, but also be like, that's a joke that the president, came
Right.
out.
Like, as much as I didn't agree with Obama's tactics, goddamn, the guy was a great speaker. Like, I loved.
He had charisma.
I loved watching that guy
What?
speak. Now, I didn't like listening to what he said.
He was the most divisive president since.
Right.
I mean,
I didn't like
since
listening
Joe
to what he
Biden.
said. But he could capture your attention speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
'cause he had the
I don't
smile
think.
and
I don't think Biden can capture a sentence.
No.
No, he can barely walk. Have
Like,
you seen him walk?
He's literally
It's a
just
fucking joke.
like he introduced himself as I'm Joe Biden. I'm Dr. Joe Biden's husband.
Yeah, because he's a fucking.
In that press conference, like, no, you're the fucking president of the United States.
Yeah, come out there with some fucking gumption,
Right.
like with your chest up.
Or come out there with some empathy.
I address you today as the president of the United States with a sad heart. I just came up with that. You tell me he can't fucking do that? He's the president.
That's how big of a joke they make of it, right? That's how lack of care. That's how much lack of care the higher ups have for this kind of stuff. They're literally like, don't let a good tragedy go to waste.
They do not care. I've been saying this. They do not care about the American people.
No,
they
God,
do
no.
not care about the lower class.
No.
They do not care about anything that has to do with the people. They care about power
Yep.
and money and greed, and that's it.
Yep.
And you know what the real problem is? I kept asking myself, and I've been asking this since he got elected, and then the midterms rolled around, and it wasn't a huge red wave like everyone thought it was going to be. And I kept thinking, why do these idiots in this country keep electing these other idiots? And I finally came up with the answer. The answer is they literally will say to themselves, okay, Joe Biden's a dipshit. I know he can't do it, but I'm going to vote for him because the only way I can get climate change and abortion and just a couple of other things is I have to vote Democrat no matter what. It doesn't matter if the people running are complete idiots. They're saying, I am voting for these three things.
Right.
And, I hear on Shapiro and all these other shows all the time, oh, they're screwing up this. That's going to hurt them. They're screwing up this. That's going to hurt them. No, it's not. Because people are voting for the issues. They know that these people are complete fucking morons, and they vote for them anyway. And then you have a dipshit come out there. Man, I'm on fire right now. And he comes out there and makes an ice cream joke when there are three children
I think it's 6 now.
that got.
Well,
Is it that many?
3 adults and 3 children.
Yeah,
I
3
think.
kids. I'm not
6 total.
I'm not diminishing the adults at all.
Right.
But like and the kids were 9 years. My daughter's 10.
Yeah.
Your son Grant is 10. Is he 10 or is he 11?
11.
He just
But
turned
still,
11
yeah.
though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, those are kids that they know nothing.
Yeah.
They are innocent. They are the future, and you're gonna fucking joke about it?
Well, so today, I'm on a
You
business
made me
call.
so mad.
So today I'm on
God.
it. So my 11-year-old, he does not have a cell phone, but he has the
watch.
Call it a smartwatch or whatever. It's a watch that you can make phone calls on, you can text on. He can only text 10 pre-scripted texts that we program it with. He can't type his own text. He can record a voice message and text that to us.
Okay, that's
and
good.
And he can call us with it, right? Well, he takes it to school because sometimes he doesn't come straight home from school. Maybe he goes to a buddy's house before he comes home or whatever.
But you know where he's at.
But we know where he's at. We can GPS track it and all that
Yeah.
stuff. He calls me. School doesn't get out till 3, like after 3, 3:20 or something like that. He calls me at like 2:10. Weird, right?
Yeah.
I'm on a business call, so my knee-jerk reaction, my phone rings, is decline it. Well, then I look at it and it's Grant, and I'm like, oh shit. So here now I can text him whatever I want and he'll see everything, right?
Yeah.
So I said, hey buddy, I'm on a work call. Are you good? And he texts me with no. It's one of the only pre-scripted. It's a pre-scripted.
Yeah.
thing
There's a
in there. No.
yes, a no,
Right.
whatever.
And what he meant to say, like I got freaked out for a minute.
Yeah,
Then-
of course you did.
Right. Nothing had to do with the school shooting. It's just when your kid calls you in the middle of school
Yeah.
that never does that, you're like, what's going on, right? Turns out he was on recess and he accidentally called me.
Oh,
And then he tried shutting it off.
gotcha.
Well, then he was worried. Look at this. I door dashed a delivery.
Hey, I have something I want to DoorDash. It may not be on video, but I.
Yeah. I was running a little low, so I texted my wife downstairs. I'm like, "Hey, can you bring me a new ice cube and some more American honey?"
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
By both of you, because normally my thought of Danielle in general is like, "Fuck you," would be the text back. Get bent. She must be in a good mood.
She's in a real good mood.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I think too, like this whole like what the shooting kind of brings on me is like obviously, it's like kids' results are different, but like there's people die in Chicago every night, and also it's like what you focus on is like your reality. It doesn't mean it's like actual reality. So if all you focus on is like school shootings, because it's like the news sees those and they push it, like when you go on YouTube, all you see is like school shooting, where it's like, if that's all your focus, then everyone in the world there's like a school shooting waiting to happen like every second.
You get what you focus on, right?
That's
so
like
if you focus on tragedy, you're going to find it every day. We've got a short video clip of that. We've talked about it before on the show. If
we
you
talk
search
about
for tragedy, you'll find it, right?
We talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
What Mitch was saying earlier about just the media and like what the way they twist it and this and that and blah blah. And Austin was talking about it earlier. But like if it was a white guy who had a swastika on his a tattoo on him, we would hear about, the most outlandish,
patriarchy,
crazy,
white,
you know what I mean? All this crazy stuff, and you find out it's a white woman, transgender, who used to go to this school, goes in there, kills them, and they're like, "Oh, the guns! You got to take the guns."
Yeah.
Like, what happened to treating everyone as equals and treating everyone the same?
Right.
No, we can only do that if it works in our favor to push our narrative. And I've said this for a long time. Like, you can't take away guns, because if President Trump had got elected or decided I'm just going to stay in office, okay, and half of the military stays with him, the people that did not want Trump in there have a right to defend themselves against tyranny.
Yep.
That's what the Second Amendment's about.
Right.
So all you hippies out there that say guns are bad, think about that. Think about if you didn't want Trump in there and he just said, "Nope,
and he refused to leave.
And I'm staying, and you motherfuckers are going to do what I say." What do you want? You want some weapons of war.
Right.
Okay. You want to be able to fight for your country. Okay.
Right.
That's why we have guns. Now, I will say that we do need stricter gun laws. And that is from someone that is 100% guns first.
Yeah.
I want to be able to go to the gun show, pick up an AR, fill out my little piece of paper and buy that. Or come to Mitch's house. I'm gonna keep going. Or buy it and then that's mine. I don't care. But the fact is, we are in an age right now where mental health has run completely amok. Mm-hmm. Okay? This person was a psycho nut job. Mm-hmm. Okay? To think that to be a woman and think you're going to make yourself a man, you're a psychopath.
Right.
Okay? You may not be a psychopath, but you have mental handicap issues that need to be dealt with. Can those people get better? Of course they can. Do we need to help them? Yes, we do. And I think there should be funding for all of that kind of stuff. Right. I really do, in my heart. Those people need help. But there needs to be laws to prevent those people from buying guns.
Right.
Like literally there is a form that you fill out when you buy a gun, and they have changed it now on the federal form. Male, female, non-binary, or other, or whatever. If someone checks that box, they do not get a gun.
Right.
Okay?
And that's not being discriminatory against that type of person. That's saying that person has an identity issue. If there's an identity issue and they're having a hard time struggling with who they even are, that's not the person you want to be owning a gun.
Well, and if they can get a gun later, that's fine. But it needs to stop them right there, and there needs to be an investigation. And if the investigation says they're fine, then sell them the gun.
Right.
It's fine. But you can't just pass over that. Those same questions are on there about, are you addicted to drugs and alcohol? If you check that box, guess what? You ain't getting the fucking gun.
Right.
Okay? Have you been addicted to marijuana? You check that box, you're not getting that fucking gun.
Right.
Now,
and
look.
they're not discriminating against alcoholics, and they're not discriminating against potheads.
No. And
it's just the facts
you
are
should
the
be
facts.
checked.
Yeah.
You should be checked because, and I don't know how to speak to the, I don't know how to speak to the problem of mental health issues, like how we have gone this far over the edge with so many people having issues. I mean, I have some thoughts on it, but that's like a whole nother show. But until we figure out why and can straighten that stuff out, there has to be double and triple and quad checks.
Yeah.
There just does, okay? And we have got to get to the point where we have a good system of, figuring that stuff out. Even if it's one of those things, man, I'm going to sound like a liberal idiot. Even if it comes to a point where they will only sell ARs and those style weapons or things of that caliber in a special store where it's run by the sheriff or something like that, I'd be fine with that. I mean, because at least then sane people have had a background check to get that.
Well, here's what's crazy. It's probably easier to buy an AR than it is to get on a fucking airplane.
Oh, it's 100% easier.
I mean, you look at all the stuff you have to go through just to get on an airplane. Because one guy tried bombing an airplane with a shoe. And a couple of guys took airplanes down with box knives.
Yeah.
Now look at everything everybody in America has to go through every single time they fly.
Yeah.
Right? We can't apply some kind of similar logic to purchasing a gun.
Yeah. Like Mitch could literally come over to my house and say, "Oh, dude, that's cool. I'll give you $800." And I can take the money and give him the gun.
Yeah, you're never going to stop private to private sales.
No, but I can also, I know this from personal experience. I go to gun shows all the time because I fucking love it. Mm-hmm. You get to see all kinds of cool stuff. You find stuff that you can't find at stores or online. I love it. You go to a gun show over off Bannister Road where the old HQ used to be. It's KCSG Soccer Complex now, but they rent out the facility. You go over there and you walk around for 2 days, you will have 6 different guys walk up to you and say, "Hey, you want to buy this AR?" Mm-hmm. Because people buy them thinking they're cool and they want to keep it, and then they're like, "I don't fucking need this." And literally the guy will walk up to you. You do not have to search these people out. Mm-hmm. They will walk up to you and say, "Hey, you want to buy this?" "Oh, yeah, sure."
Right.
Boom, got you an AR right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that the way the Constitution is written, that is how it's supposed to be. I 100% believe that. You should be able to do that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how to quantify keeping these crazy fucking lunatics that think they're men, but they're born a woman and they have mental health issues. How, other than getting away from that style of stuff, how do I keep the gun away from them? And she even went to the store and got hers.
Right. Here's the sad truth. It's not the weapon. It's the evil.
Yeah.
You will never stop evil. Evil will be in America 24/7, 365. If you take away the guns, they'll kill people with knives. If you take away knives, they'll kill people by drowning them. If you take away water, they'll kill people with fire. Evil will constantly move around in order to achieve its deed. And there's always evil people. So unless you can find a way to rid the world of evil, you will always have these types of atrocities.
And I didn't want to. That's why I was saying, I don't want to go into the mental health issues of why people are. But what you're saying there is the same thing. Is those mental health issues are happening, but it's because of evil, and we're not going to get into all that stuff today. But you're right. I mean, like the Romans used to, when they would sack a city, they take all the babies and they go up to the top of the wall and they throw them off.
Right.
I mean, that's true.
They didn't ban walls.
No, yeah, that is true evil. Like when you can literally take a baby and go up to a wall and just throw them off because you don't agree with that tribe or city or whatever, like that's pure evil.
Right.
Right?
But here's the thing. Had they had guns in the Roman era, they would have shot the babies. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So it's not the weapon.
Yeah.
It's the evil.
Yeah.
And the weapons just make it a little bit easier, but it will, we're talking easier by a fraction. I mean, how many stories have you heard where, moms with depression drown their babies?
Yeah.
right?
They got postpartum so bad that they're
right.
losing their shit.
Or
They're chemically unbalanced. You know what that is? That's a mental health issue.
Oh yeah, totally. Or you got people with spousal, issues, and they, murder suicide or whatever the case may be. No matter the weapon, right?
Yeah.
It could be burning the house down. It could be poisoning them. Like there's 1,000 different ways to harm somebody. You take away the easiest, they just move to the next. And so that's where I struggle with the whole gun thing is like guns are just the easiest. But if you take away guns, for one, it doesn't solve the issue. I mean, look at Chicago. But outside of that, they just move to the next thing.
Yeah,
you go all the way back to the Roman days. They were throwing people off walls. What are you gonna do? Ban walls?
Yeah, and the kid that stabbed those 4 college students. I mean, he stabbed them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's up close and personal. Would it have been easier for him to take a gun and put a silencer on it, which everyone, hey, look, it's a 2-liter bottle stuffed with some stuff. It's easy. It's not hard. You don't have to register. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, he could have done that. No. He's a psychopath and an evil son of a bitch, and he literally stabbed, was it 4 or was it 2?
I don't know.
I don't want to get my facts wrong, but stabbed them to death while they slept.
Yeah.
I mean, that is dark.
Well, here's the thing. The biggest atrocity against America in the modern times
was done with no guns.
9/11 was done with 0 guns, with fucking box knives.
Yeah, which I don't want to get started in this, but I'm gonna anyway.
You're gonna go all Alex Jones here?
Well, I mean, how do you not fucking a guy's got a box knife? How do you not just get on him?
But what
like
I'm
you
saying,
might get cut to death, but you may say, and that one guy, who was the guy that he was on the phone with his wife and
crashed the plane.
Let's roll, and they go up there and they take the plane over because they knew they were trying to kill people, and they all sacrificed themselves.
Yeah,
I mean, they all should be wearing medals of honor.
Right. But here's the thing.
Fucking box knives. What are you people doing?
What's the commonality between 9/11 and everything else? It's not guns.
It's evil.
It's evil.
Pure evil.
And you will never rid the world of evil. So stop worrying about the tool. Focus on the evil. And recognize evil will always be here. You have to find a way to deal with it.
Let's talk about one more thing with that. Just like what you were saying. If they get rid of guns and you can't get rid of evil, and then the government becomes evil and they have all the guns, what are you going to do? You're fucked is what you are.
I'm going to panic.
You're fucked and you're moving somewhere where no one... I mean, that's just what it is.
Everyone goes to Mexico instead of Mexicans coming here.
I don't want to talk about that either. Me and my friend Byron, his name's Byron Alvarez. He's from Mexico. He's a citizen here now.
Yeah.
And he used to play for the Portland Timbers, soccer player. And we've had some conversations about, like, why is Mexico so bad? I'm not going to say what he said, but it's
weird.
just, I mean, it's just, I don't get, that's a whole, you know what? Next week, we'll talk about that.
Well, I want to inject something like, weird.
Here we go.
It's weird how many, like, you'll have like half a dozen red flags they find out after the person goes insane and shoots people. They're like, oh yeah, he killed his grandma the day before, or it's like whatever. It's like, oh, his Facebook said he's going to threaten this. I'm like, how do people not see all those red flags?
And I don't get that either because...
Well, here's why. We've talked about this before.
Oh, the Facebook funnel?
No
one's seeing it?
Our judicial system is set up to help the criminal.
Well, just because they said they posted on Facebook that they were going to kill somebody, we can't actually take them at their word for that because freedom of speech and...
I love the they're poor and they're oppressed. We have to give them a break. Like, what the fuck is that about?
I mean, we have the person who stole one of our tablets on video. We have their license plate, and the police say they can't even go to their house.
Yeah.
So, like, you think somebody makes some hollow threat on Facebook and the police are going to act on that? No.
No.
Right?
No, they're not.
Yeah.
We just burned 30 minutes.
I know.
I'm like...
Typically, the intro is supposed to be 10.
My face is... like
get Dave fired up,
burning.
Well, you always notice too these.
I was mad when I got here. That didn't fucking help.
No.
I mean,
these mass shootings. It's like you see several more. They kill like their family member before they go to the school. They'll kill like their grandma or their guardian, and they go to school and shoot up. I'm like, that's kind of like.
that's dark.
But those
evil.
Are tying up loose ends.
When that happens, it's happening so swiftly that you can't connect all those dots yet. So
all right,
The one thing I will find out, or the one thing I find incredibly odd about this is like all the body cam footage is already out and available. But yet before...
No free advertising.
before, like the Uvalde school shooting,
Yeah.
God, it was weeks before we even saw anything.
Yeah.
And then when we saw anything, it was like 8 seconds from a security camera. Well, now we have like 43 angles from 43 different body cams.
Like, how'd she get? Like, that's a long gun she had. Like, you see her on the camera. I'm like, how did she sneak in with that? It's
She
not
didn't sneak in. She shot through
Shot the
door.
glass. Shot the glass out.
Walked in.
And I've been saying this for a long time. Every school has to have an officer. I don't fucking get it.
Yeah.
In 1996, Blue Springs South had an officer
We had 2.
on the premises with a loaded weapon and a
24/7.
shotgun or an AR in his car 24/7.
Yep.
It's 2022.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been 20 years since Columbine, I think. Or
Yeah.
probably longer than that. Are you telling me that these rich-ass schools can't afford to pay one fucking cop off duty to be there?
Well, it's a lot of money. But
No,
have
it-
you seen our new soccer stadium?
Yeah. it's not a lot of money. Like Chad, my friend Chad Flynn and I were talking about this. I was like, if it got to the point where they would say, "Hey, we can't," this and that. I said, if you went to the parents and said, "Hey, we are going to allow a group of you to get together if you want, and you can all take a day."
Yeah.
Like, I would take a day a week. I would take a day a month. If they let me put my body armor on and take my rifle and just walk the halls,
Right.
I would do it. There's no, if they said we can't have a cop up here, this is the only way we can do it. Dude, there'd be 50 people at Layla's elementary school that said, yeah, we'd do it.
Right.
And Chad said the same. He's like, dude, yeah, that's a good idea.
wanna
Yeah.
say it.
He's like, fuck yeah, I'd do it.
I want to say I saw that somewhere where they had
Well,
like
there are-
volunteers.
There are volunteers.
Yeah,
some
there's
places.
some
It's-
places
in
there are.
super small towns, they do that.
Yeah. Well, if Biden was in charge of it, he would make sure that an ice cream truck came by to help make those volunteers.
Don't
happy.
fire me up about that fucking white, privileged, worthless motherfucker.
Let's roll
Fuck
on to
him.
topic number 2.
Fuck him.
They got enough money to teach queer theory, but not enough money to protect the schools.
Right. Topic number 2 is the
Move
moment.
the fuck on.
The moment
I'm losing
of
it.
truth. So what we're talking about here is this was actually inspired by a phone call I had with a guy named Paul today.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, Paul.
You're doing great,
Does Paul listen to the podcast?
Yeah,
What's up, Paul?
yeah. He was during the phone call. He was talking about how we were talking about playing business, right? And so the moment of truth has to do with like that pivotal moment where you make the decision to go all in and start your business. And it's always going to be adrenaline filled. It's never going to be easy. It's never going to be comfortable. You may look back on it and decide like, it wasn't as bad as I was making it out to be. But in the moment, it's always going to be uncomfortable. So here's 3 things that you can do to ease that comfort a little bit. 1, do the math, right? So in Paul's case, he has a full-time job at one place that offers benefits, and then like 3 days a week he's doing plumbing, and he's trying to start a plumbing company. And he's like, well, it's just hard to walk away from the benefits and everything else. And I totally get it. Like, I've had those same thoughts, right?
In episodes 1 through 9, we talk about it an entire episode about how hard it is, but how to prepare is what's more important.
Yeah, and he's prepared. He's just having a hard time pulling the trigger. And so I said, dude, it's a simple math problem. Go back over the last month and look at how much you make per day doing your day job and how much you make per day when you're plumbing. And then run the math. And let's just say, just using round numbers, let's say you make $500 a day at your day job and you make $600 a day plumbing. Well, it's literally costing you $100 a day to stay at your day job. We're talking net numbers here, right? Not gross earnings, net numbers.
I was thinking benefits, but
Right.
okay.
So, in part of that math, this is step 2, source your private insurance. Because a lot of times, one of the biggest things that's keeping you from starting your own company is your current job has benefits and your future self-employment job has none. So, do yourself the due diligence. Reach out to some private insurance brokers and look up for private insurance. Find out what it's going to cost to get your family covered for private insurance. Now, understand that the government has some pretty strict regulations on private insurance brokerages. And so you don't have to do a ton of shopping around.
No, they're
They
pretty
are-
legit.
They are all going to be within dollars of each other for your monthly plan. And I mean dollars.
Yeah. They have to be.
Yeah, they have to
If
be.
they want to do it, they regulate it that way.
Yes, there is
mean-
so much regulation with that. So if you're shopping around and you get a policy quote for $2,000 a month for your family from company A, and insurance company B says, $2,050 a month, and insurance company C says $1,600 a month, that is a giant red flag, because I can guarantee you there is a massive discrepancy in the $1,600 policy versus the $2,000 policies. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying you shouldn't go with the 1,600. I'm just saying that is not the same. You're not comparing apples to apples.
Well, I was just going to say, you have to make sure that it's apples to apples. You can look at that policy and it could be no eye care on one.
Right.
And two of your kids wear glasses. And,
Could be higher deductibles, could be lower
all
coverages.
kinds of stuff.
Lots of things. However, when you're comparing apples to apples to apples at all three places, you're going to find that their quotes are within like $50 a month of each other because the government kind of makes it that way.
And I've seen guys panic. Like, they're the whole time they're worried. I'm missing out on $200 here, $200 there. Don't panic, because like Mitch said, it is, once you actually sign the paperwork and get down to the nitty gritty, it's literally within $20.
Yeah.
It is not something to be worried about. The number that they're telling you is the number. I mean,
Yep.
That's going to be it. It's a hard number, and it's going to stay that number, unlike everything else, for a long time. So that gives you, like he's saying, it gives you the math to know, okay, if I do it, I need this much money for that,
Right.
and that's just what it is.
Yeah. So like when I started our business, we had, I think, probably 3 major hard costs. We had a ton of costs, but we had like 3 major hard costs. Truck payment, because I financed my first van. I financed that van before I walked away from my
We'll
W-2
start
job.
calling you Mr. Finance.
Yeah. Financed the first van before I walked away from my W-2 earnings to preserve cash flow. Business insurance, which when you're a plumber is not overly cheap, just because plumbers can
it's-
cause a lot of damage.
It's not awful, but it ain't great
Well, when you're a service plumber, it's totally different than when you're like a new construction plumber.
compared
for sure.
to HVAC insurance. It's expensive.
Yeah. So, and then my third and final big expense was private health care, because I was walking away from that, right?
Yep.
So as I'm doing the math, step 1 of the moment of truth, as I'm doing that math and looking at like, what is it going to take? Part of that math is private health insurance.
Yeah.
So figure up all your costs, and then figure up how much you're making each day as a plumber, and then compare that. So take a month's worth of earnings as a plumber, take a month's worth of costs, and then you end up with your net number, right? And then go see what you earn in a month at your day job. And you'll realize pretty quick that you're probably going to make more as a plumber, especially once you quit your day job and you free up 40 hours a week to go do more plumbing.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
that's,
Well, and you can advertise, and you can do what we talk about getting work from Facebook groups, and
doing your community work and everything else.
you're literally, all you're doing, or all Paul's probably doing, is when people call, he does work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then that guy tells his neighbor.
Yep.
I mean, he literally is spending no time probably trying to get work.
Right.
You know?
And so, yeah, right now, Paul's in kind of that fun, sweet spot of,
Fat money
well,
and
it's,
just some small, it's still got benefits.
yeah, it's not side work. Like he's legit.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, he's legit, but he's still got the security net, so to speak, of the day job and the comfort with that and the benefits with that and everything else. But all it takes is a little bit of a perspective shift to realize, like, how much more could I make as a plumber if I quit my day job and then now I'm available 40 more hours a week to do plumbing? Like, holy shit, we could stand this up.
And I want to say too, a lot of people, I doubt this is Paul's problem, but a lot of people, it's not necessarily the money or being afraid that they can't make the money. It's they haven't in their mind made up, I want to own this business and I want to do this full time and I want to make this my life. Because it's, let's be honest, it's easy when you work for someone at the end of the day to go, I'm going home and I don't have to think about it. Like it's literally, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what we talk about a lot. You know, some people just aren't ready. Some people aren't built for that. They just aren't.
Yep.
And it makes them unhappy it would make them unhappy to run a business. So it's, you know, not Paul specifically, but a lot of people will hold on to that and say, you know what, if I don't want to go run those plumbing jobs, I don't have to.
Right.
And if I want to call in sick after a Chiefs game for the AFC Championship game on a Monday morning, I can. I'm not going to get fired. I don't have to reschedule jobs that I made over here. So sometimes it's people just aren't ready or aren't willing.
Mm-hmm.
But like we talk about a lot, when people do make that change, the majority of them that are on the fence are glad that they did it. You know, and I think Paul is that way. So shameless plug, Paul signed up for Tradewinds today.
Yep.
The Tradewinds coaching program. And I think that that's really in his heart and that's what he wants to do.
Right.
You know, Jorge had the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a problem. So, hey, Jorge, I know you listen still. What's up, bud?
Hi, Jorge.
Talk to you Friday.
You know, he will always have a special place in my heart because he's the first one. I think he's the very first person that reached out and was serious about, hey, I'm afraid. I have kids.
Yep.
I have insurance. I have this and I have that. I mean, he wanted to start and wasn't sure.
And now, just from this podcast,
he's killing it.
He's got another guy kind of working part-time for him. He's got his van all wrapped up. Like he's loving the fact that he made that jump, right?
But his initial questions were the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
He was worried that, and I'll remember it forever probably because he was really the first one. I remember sitting here thinking, and it was like I was talking to him. He wasn't here, but I was like, dude, you can do it.
Right.
You can do it. Paul can do it. These guys can do it. They have the work rolling. They're ready to go. They just need, like you say, that moment of truth, that push over the edge. I can do it.
Right.
And Mitch is talking about making it into a mathematical equation for those of you that are very analytical like Mitch. For me, a guy that's emotional, I don't know if Jorge is this way or not. Sometimes you just need a kick in the ass.
Sometimes you just need to say, fuck it and do it.
You can do it.
Right.
You guys can do it. You can fucking do it.
So step 3 in the moment of truth is ring the bell.
Right.
So I used to, when I worked out with Tyler at Dog Pound, which I was just there on Sunday.
KC Dog Pound.
Dog Pound KC.
Dog Pound KC, that's right.
I was just there on Sunday.
That's fucked up because I just was wearing my green. He gave us green shirts.
Yeah.
Long sleeve workout. They're awesome. I wore mine yesterday.
They sponsored a UFC fighter and they were letting her train. It was a female fighter and they were letting her train at Dog Pound.
Nice.
And so I was talking to her about like what is that like, right? And she's like, it's fucking crazy. You practice and you practice and you train and you train and you practice, but you're never ready for that bell to ring.
No.
And guess what? That bell rings and it takes about 2 or 3 punches to the face before you're like, we ain't playing anymore.
Yeah.
We're in this, right?
Yeah.
So business is very similar to the same way. You can prep and you can prep and you can think you got everything in a row and you can think you got it all figured out. But guess what? You're going to have about 2 or 3 things that happen right after you start in business that you're like, well, fuck, I guess we're in this now. Like, this is business.
I'm not turning around now.
Yeah.
We're deep.
What
Let's
am I
go.
going to do? Go ask for my old job back?
No. You're
right?
going to...
That bell rings, you're into business for yourself. You ain't playing anymore.
You know, the human spirit, people talk about it all the time. You don't know how tough you are until you're in the desert and you've been there for 3 days.
Yeah.
Like you learn who you are.
Yeah.
Business is like a dumbed down version of that.
Yeah.
Like literally you wake up and some people are confident, they're going and they're carrying on. Some people wake up in a cold fucking sweat and they're like, holy shit, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
But literally, no matter who you are, you learn in those... You continuously learn, but in that, man, those first 2 months, you realize,
yeah,
I am so much more capable than I thought I was.
Yeah.
I literally can do all this stuff, and now basically you prove it to yourself.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. You're proving to yourself that you can get it done.
Yep.
And it's a weird feeling. It's like an awe and a shock and a oh shit and a all wrapped into one, and then
all summarized with I fucking did it.
yeah, it's so weird. Like I'll remember the first year I filed taxes, and Janine, my wife, poor Janine, she was so worried. She was like, and I'd been socking money away. Like I don't remember what I set aside. The first year, I think I set aside like $15,000. Like not a lot, but that's what I thought I was gonna have to pay for taxes because she was still working on. I'm socking money away. She says, "How much do you think we're gonna have to pay?" I was like, "Babe, I have no idea. I don't know." Like at that time in my business growth, I was blind as a bat. I had no fucking idea what was going to happen. And then they came back and they were like, "Well, you owe $4,800." I wrote the check and I looked at the $15,000 and I was like,
bonus.
I wrote that check and I gave it to her and I was like,
we're good.
We're good. And I mean, like I was so proud. I was like chest puffed out. I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's another level when you're providing for yourself by yourself.
Yep.
Like my name was on the front of the check. I signed the check. My name was on the payout line.
Yep.
And I even wrote it on the back to deposit it, even though I didn't have to, just because I could, and you go to the bank with that check the first time and you're like, here.
I made this.
First off, the teller don't give a fuck.
No.
But I was proud. I was like, here's my,
Yeah.
It's
that teller saw a $600,000 check earlier that day. That your $5,000
my
check's
check,
like, meh.
my $1,800 check was piddly ass crap. No one gave a fuck. But you know who did? I did.
Yeah.
And it literally changed the way I thought about everything at the time. And we have testimonials all the time, just from the podcast that are like, there was one today.
Yeah.
That you put on your Facebook. And
Yep.
I think I shared it. I don't remember. But it's like...
Yeah, you shared it and then you liked your own post.
Fuck yeah, I did.
fucking laughed my ass off at that.
So what I do is I do that and then I just go through all like the first ones I care about. I'm like. Oh, that was mine. It's too late. It's over. I've already done it. Because like I'm working, I'm doing stuff and I do
that's
it.
funny.
I need a Facebook fucking 101, but to be honest, that's why I got Mitch.
It's lesson 2 in trade wins, by the way.
Always be partners with someone that's smarter than you. That's like rule number 1.
Wait, this is like that Spider-Man meme where we're both pointing at each other.
But it's I've lost my train of thought. Mitch fucked me all up. But when you have realized what you're capable of and you're really rolling, I mean, there's just there's nothing more satisfying.
Yeah. Then it's time to change gears and take it up a notch. But at that moment you've proved to yourself that we did it.
Yeah.
We successfully left the W-2 and we're rolling on our own, right?
Yeah.
Topic 3, accidental narcissism. So,
hey, hang on, I got to turn Austin's mic off.
this topic was actually inspired by Austin. So,
Woo!
yeah, there he is.
85 podcasts later.
Hey, almost a year with the company and finally had a good idea. Hey, this is for Austin.
Oh, there it is.
Congratulatory beverage. I wish I should have brought a champagne cork.
That's a Bush Heavy. That's not even a Bush Light.
These are Mitch's. Someone brought them to his house, and I've been whittling through them
Those
for
are from 2 Halloweens ago.
Well, I've been whittling through them for at least since the last Halloween. So,
right. So we'll preface this by saying the term narcissism or narcissist is thrown around way too much today, and it's thrown around by a bunch of people who don't even know what it is, right?
Yeah.
So let's...
Why don't you read what the definition of narcissist or narcissism is?
Yep.
How long is it going to take you?
Let me pull it up.
Do you want me to fill?
No. Hey, if you like what you're hearing on The Void and you want even more info, we just started a mentorship program specifically for trades professionals to start their business or to get their business to an incredibly healthy position. So if you'd like more info, click on the link in the description of this show. Okay, so narcissism is the excessive interest in or the admiration of one's self and one's physical appearance. It can be selfishness involving a sense of entitlement or a lack of empathy, needing admiration as characterizing a physical type or a personality type. It can be self-centeredness arising from failure to distinguish the self from external objects, either in very young babies or as a feature of a mental disorder. So, if you really break that down, there is nowhere near as much narcissism going on in the world as you would like to think. Now here, hold
the
on.
selfish part, yes,
Hold on.
but the combination, no.
You go one down. 5 habits of a narcissist. This is on Google, by the way.
Shameless Google plug.
Yeah.
Like they don't have enough fucking money.
So, inflated ego. Those who suffer from narcissism usually see themselves as superior to others. Okay. Lack of empathy, need for attention, repressed insecurities, and very few boundaries. Okay. So, where this problem happens is you get somebody who doesn't really understand what people are, and you're gonna let's say where this happens all the time is ex-spouses, right? Oh, they were a narcissist and I had to get away from that relationship. Yeah, they had a inflated ego, right? They usually saw themselves superior to others. Well, maybe
Meanwhile, the other spouse is saying the exact same thing.
right.
It wasn't you going out with your friends instead of
Yeah.
spending time with your
Yeah. And then both of them ran to their mom saying, hey,
Yeah.
guess what? You're both probably narcissists.
Lack of empathy. Like, he never cared for me. He always told me I was like being dramatic. Well, maybe you were.
Bitch,
makes-
maybe you are
I mean-
dramatic. And I don't mean bitch woman there because I've heard lots of women call their husbands bitches. So
Yeah. Need for attention. In failing marriages, both of them have a need for attention that isn't being met. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that both of them are narcissists,
that's right.
Repressed insecurities. Oh, this probably comes from long talks with mom.
Mitch.
Right. Yeah. This probably comes from long talks with mom while you're talking about your relationship and, oh, he was abused as a child or, you know,
Yeah.
what,
I'm just kidding. Mitch
yeah.
he's not insecure.
Or my favorite, few boundaries.
He's arrogant as fuck. I have no boundaries.
Confident, not arrogant. Few boundaries. Well, he sure didn't have any boundaries when he couldn't keep his hands out of Margaret's pants, you know, like.
Lucky Margaret.
So
Well, I mean, the
it's
bound-
pretty easy to look at these stereotypical 5 most common characteristics of a narcissist and then try to blame this person as being a narcissist, right? However, you go back to the definition of narcissism, and very few people are going to meet that definition. Excessive interest or admiration in one's self or one's physical appearance. Like excessive interest, right? That's
Yeah.
not just saying, like, the definition is not interest or admiration in oneself or one's physical appearance. Because I have that, right? I want to make sure I look good. I want to make sure I'm confident. I want to make sure my wife is proud to call me her husband. Like, all of that stuff.
Mitch is making me feel bad. Like I don't care
Dave-
at all.
yeah,
I'm wearing
Dave gets
fucking
4
black
haircuts a year.
black sweatpants, brown sweatshirt. I haven't had my hair cut in like fucking 4 months.
Right. What we're talking about is
God.
excessive interest in that.
Yeah.
Right. So much so that like it
Occupies a space in your life, in your daily life. Like
And it-
you are extremely
gives you a sense
focused
of
on
it.
it all the time.
and it gives you a sense of entitlement, right?
Yeah.
So
I look so good. Look at me. I'm just awesome. And that's not that's not a girl thing. I know meathead losers that are at the gym all the time. They're like, look at me.
yeah.
Look, I'm so bad at. It's everyone. Okay.
Well, you're damn straight. When I finally get down to a 6-pack, you're gonna hear about it. But that's not narcissism. That's like, hey, I've accomplished something and I'm willing to talk about it.
I'm 41. I've had a 6-pack my whole life. I don't know what the fucking big deal is.
Shit.
I sent you a picture last year.
That was a dick pic.
That was a different pic, and that was only to make you jealous.
That wasn't your dick. You were holding it, but it wasn't. So,
Don't judge me, you son of a bitch.
so where a lot of this comes from.
Oh my God.
Is-
For those of you that don't watch on YouTube, we're going to start putting photos and stuff up on because you're going to, we're going to start doing it. We have to.
So,
There's just so much more content we could give you guys. It's just funny.
top 5 characteristics of a narcissist: inflated ego. There is a difference between ego and someone who has confidence, right? Confidence comes from making small promises to yourself and keeping those small promises to yourself. That does not mean you have an ego, right? If I make a promise to myself that I'm going to read a book every day, like read a portion of a book every day, and I'm going to go to the gym every day, and I'm going to eat somewhat healthy every day. Well, by the time I've done that for a week, guess what? I've got a little bit of confidence with me, right?
Right.
That does not mean I have an inflated ego.
Yes, it does.
Bullshit. So
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
The problem.
You're right.
The problem with that is I mean, really, it's shallow-minded people that can't really see too much into depth.
Well, people, the real problem is people see what they want to see, and they don't want to see the work that other people have put in to gain their confidence, to become who they are.
They want to judge the result.
And they immediately want to judge you based on the few things that they've seen. That's why I think, this is a little off topic, but I think judgment in this country has gone way, way too far. You don't, especially with social media, you see a 30-second clip and instantly you think you know someone, or instantly you think that you have a grasp on what's going on. And that's just not the truth. You really need to be able to step back and say, okay, how did they get there? What has happened? What has made them that type of person?
Yeah.
You need to have empathy towards that person, even if you're envious of that person.
Yep.
Because that gives you a humble judgment of who they really are.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, because let's be honest. Just right now, I'm gonna throw myself under the bus. Earlier we were just kind of joking. I said meatheads at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Every guy that is ripped that's working out at the gym is not a meathead.
Right.
But what I said was judgmental about them.
Not necessarily. It depends on your level of confidence.
Well, I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah.
So, but that's what most people do.
So like,
right? So someone that's working at the gym like that, their immediate response is, that's a meathead. Well, you don't know that. That guy could be the most humble, nice guy. He just works out, loves working out, and is that type of person. And he's not a meathead, arrogant asshole.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you immediately
think
think of that, but that's not necessarily what it is.
I can think of 5 guys at the gym right now that are killing it, right? I've gone, so I switched from Dog Pound to Planet Fitness. Nothing against Dog Pound.
Tyler Maidment, love you, bud.
Yeah, no, love him to death. Still promote the hell out of him.
Yeah, dude, when I wear that shirt, people are like, you work out there? I was like, no. I said, but Tyler's awesome.
Yeah. For me, it was a scheduling thing.
I like him.
It was
nice
more of a timing and scheduling thing than anything else.
And especially if you know what, shameless plug, we've mentioned him on the show. If you're looking to get back into shape and change your diet and get on a real workout regimen, in Blue Springs, that's the best place to go.
I haven't seen anybody do more body transformations than he has.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Best place to go in Blue Springs, hands down.
When
Tyler,
I go to Planet Fitness now. It just fits my schedule a little bit more. When I'm there, I can think of 5 guys right now that are absolutely killing it in the gym. Okay, what I mean by that is they're lean. They got good physique. Like they're building their body with purpose, right? Like they've got the shape that they're looking for, and so on. One of those 5, I would probably call a meathead. 4 of those 5 are going in there, they're putting in the work, they're doing the thing, and they're leaving. One of those 5 spends half his time in the mirror flexing and staring at himself.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where I would call that like obsessive or excessive adoration of oneself.
Narcissist.
Right. So, but just because you go to the gym every day and you're disciplined on your diet and you're disciplined on your workout routine and you're achieving results doesn't mean you're a meathead, doesn't mean you're a narcissist, because they're just coming in, they're not saying a word to anybody and they're leaving. Now, the one guy that I would probably call a meathead spends half his time flirting with the ladies, right? Like
I think you mean lucky.
Not lucky. I've seen one of the ladies, I joke around with this with my wife all the time. One of the ladies he flirts with all the time, she wears a tank top that says tits and tats, and she has neither. I don't get it.
That's not good.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't see either on you. So
we've kind of, basically what we've been doing is just kind of defining what a narcissist is because no one knows. Let's talk about how it.
So
Let's talk about just how that affects business as an owner, as someone that is in charge of people. You know, when you are in charge of people and you can't let go of the jobs that they're on, if you're a boss, if you're an owner of a company and you cannot let your guys go and work on their own and finish jobs on their own without hovering over them like a helicopter parent, you might be a narcissist. Okay? If you think that you all the time have to, oh, they can't handle it, I've got to jump in there and do it. They just can't do it without me.
Right.
You might be a narcissist. And the reason we bring that up is because your business will not grow if that's your mindset. Okay? First off, if you get 5 guys, you can't be at every job. It's impossible. Right. Okay? You cannot be at every job. What does business growth take? Independent workers. Right. Okay? Especially in the service industry. Mitch does not helicopter his guys. Mm-mm. They go out there. They're on their own for sales. They're not on their own for sales and getting it done.
My guys. I kind of leave them for a minute and like.
Did you say Benghazi? That's great. That is fucking great.
I mean,
you got me off track. Stop. Okay, but if you cannot leave your guys to make sales or finish jobs on their own, you will not grow. You have to have guys that can make sales and do the work and bill the work and have money coming in without you being there.
Right.
Especially in the service-based industry, you just cannot do it. You can helicopter a couple of guys, you get to 4, it's over.
Yep.
Okay? And that's, guys will say, they'll come out and say, well, I just can't find good guys to work on their own. I have to be there to hold them. Are you sure it's them or is it you? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You cannot, I can't leave guys on their own. That might be your insecurities or you're afraid to let go and let them just fly and be on their own.
If you want it done right, you got to do it yourself.
100% correct. Mitch Smedley, ladies and gentlemen, that's the point. That mindset of always having to be there and always have to be in control, then that is a problem.
Yeah.
You cannot grow beyond 2 or 3 people and have that happen. Let's say you have 2 or 3 people and you have a secretary. Now you've got 4. You're telling me you have to stand over her and make sure, I shouldn't say her, you have to stand over the secretary and make sure they're doing the right thing.
Right.
And you have to go to everyone's job at the end of the day and make sure they've done the right thing. And you have to double check the sales calls they've made before they've started the work and say, hey, did they make everything that you wanted? You just can't do it. You cannot grow a successful company with more than 2 people and be that way.
Right.
You have to get past that.
So I want to...
I was rambling there.
You're fine.
Does that make sense?
I want to dive into 5 qualities of a good leader in a good business.
Okay. I like this.
So
what do you got?
A good leader is going to not be afraid to push the boundaries, right? They're going to charge into areas and try and risk failure, okay? That's a sign of a good leader.
Do you mean in business or like in a job?
In business.
In a job sense. In business.
In business. They're going to try into areas knowing they might fail, but knowing that the rewards might be worth it, right?
Right.
They are also going to know their numbers well enough that they're going to have a certain list of hot button issues that they want checked every day. They want to check revenue every day. They want to check sold hours every day. There's certain things that they want to check every day. Like for me, I want revenue checked every day. I want sold hours checked every day. I want call slots on the board checked every day. In other words, how full were we on our schedule? I want opportunity call, like how many times did the phone ring today and how many calls did we land, right? You give me those 5 things and I can pretty much judge a snapshot of how we're doing in business and where we need to make changes, okay? A good leader also communicates with the needed people in their team very well. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So, in other words, like we recently hired a VA. I meet with her every morning at 9 o'clock, like clockwork. I can think of, in the last few weeks, I can think of maybe one time where we scrapped the meeting, but it didn't matter because she already had like a boatload of work to do. So the meeting was kind of useless. But I need attention from her every day, right? A good leader will also be very understanding while also being stern. They will, they'll be understanding of the situation, but they're also immediately going to advise you how to get out of the situation. They're not going to dilly-dally around in like, oh, I'm sorry you're in that, right? It's like, here's what you need to do to fix it and let's move on, right? Because a good leader is all about speed and moving forward.
Well, and confidence in that situation.
Exactly. Well,
You know
and
what I
that's
mean?
the final one, is a good leader has confidence.
I'm not looking at Mitch's notes, by the way.
No.
But
the
when
final
you-
one is confidence.
When
okay?
you said that before, that takes confidence.
Right.
You know,
Now,
you're exuding what that is.
let's go back. So we just went over the 5 qualities of a good leader, right?
Yeah.
Let's reverse
I like those. Good
the
examples.
5 qualities of a narcissist. Few boundaries,
I knew you were,
repressed insecurities,
I knew you were going there.
need for
good.
attention, lack of empathy, and inflated ego. So it's highly possible that a good leader, under the wrong mindset, could be perceived as a narcissist, when actually they're actually a good leader, right? They're willing to push the boundaries. They have a few things that they want checked every day. They want to check in with certain people every day because they know that's what keeps moving the event forward. They're empathetic to your needs, but they're also not going to dilly-dally around in the sadness. Like, they know that the solution is move past it. Well, some people may say that's lacking empathy. And then it's very easy to alternate ego with confidence. What one person may look at as confident, another person may look at as ego, right?
Right.
So that's where we come up with the topic of accidental narcissism. Is, are they a narcissist, or are they just a really good leader?
Well,
And I'm not putting myself in that. I'm
No,
just
no,
like,
no, no, no.
if I were to look at anybody in this, I would say like Trump. Trump gets labeled a narcissist quite a bit.
first off, he is a
Self-absorbed.
narcissist. I'm not diving into that.
Yeah.
I just can't. I mean, we're already on hour 5. I don't have another half hour to talk about
My eyebrows
the
are
guy
like,
I hate and the guy I like. That's
I know.
really one person. You know,
But what I'm saying is, like, Trump's a damn good leader, but you could go either way with the mindset, right? So ultimately, I think what we're trying to say is really good leaders are kind of borderline narcissists, maybe.
they're on the fence. I will say
If there's a spectrum, they're on it.
they're on the fence, and I will say a good leader, okay, has the ability to, with one employee, know which side of the fence to be on. And a bad leader doesn't know, and he will push the boundaries and offend people and be a pain and not help his company grow. A good leader knows what buttons to push.
Right.
Okay? And that person has narcissistic qualities, but is not a narcissist.
Right.
Okay? That person knows that Jim needs me to be there on the job a little bit.
Right.
That person knows that, hey, Steve doesn't need me, but he needs me to push him and call him in this area. Okay? Just because, you know, you were saying at the end of the day you want to have these 5 things or this whatever, that doesn't push over the fence of being a helicopter boss.
Right.
You know, and what's really interesting to me is the way that people work in general is, obviously we're all different. We all react different, okay? Bosses react different to certain employees. 8 employees could react different to that boss. But a good leader knows how to handle all of those different situations individually or in a group setting. Okay? The big things you can handle in a group setting. The small things you have to take on one-on-one. And you will instantly know how to handle certain employees in one way or different employees in another way. And kind of what we're talking about here, with this topic of narcissism is, it's weird because we talk about it all the time. You have to be able to look at yourself and realize what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. And it's a very hard thing to do. But if you're going to be successful and have a bunch of guys that really want to go hard for you, you have to be able to do it. And you can work on it. People say you can't change, you can't do this, you can't do that. I'm going to give you a specific example in my life. I used to be so worried all the time about, this thing happening at work or that thing happening at work. And I mean, my HVAC company, I would be so worried that I couldn't sleep at night. I literally could not sleep. And I would have such anxiety that it would literally control parts of my life. I was able to teach myself, this is going to sound ridiculous. I was able to teach myself to forget about those things. So what I would do is I would write those down and I would teach myself literally, you just forget about it and let it go. And this is going to sound so insane. It took 4 or 5 years for me to write that stuff down, and then I could literally forget about it altogether. And I never realized, I literally would forget about it and be able to sleep and be able to focus. And then when it came up on the calendar, or I would look at my notes, I'd say, oh yeah, I have to do that. But I could sleep. And I never realized it until later. I literally started doing it all the time. And if I didn't write things down, I would forget about stuff and I would be in deep shit. I'd be like, oh shit, I forgot all about that.
Right.
And this literally happened to me, and it sounds insane, but I could control the way I was thinking and what I was doing by just doing it all the time. Just literally was doing it all the time.
Right.
So no matter what you're doing, you have the mental capacity to do it and to change the way you're thinking about stuff. So if you're a bad, boss, or you have 2 guys and you can't get more guys, or you can't hire anyone else because you don't think you have the time, maybe you need to change the way you're thinking about things.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to have a little bit more grasp of what's going on and how you're handling things. And it's really kind of a mind fuck if you want to know the truth, but you can do it. You can literally change the way you do things and become a better boss.
Yeah.
And become a better manager and become a better business owner and become a better dad or husband or whatever. Everyone says all the time, you can't change who you are. The fuck you can't.
Right.
You can, but you have to want to do it, and you have to put in the mental work that it takes to get there.
So,
Is that too much?
No.
Is that too much?
I've been open on the show about last summer, we're coming up on maybe 10 months ago or something like that. My wife and I were not in a good spot. We had gotten in the biggest fight we had ever gotten in our marriage.
Yeah, she was calling me all the time.
I mean, yeah. and things were rough, right? I changed who I was for her. I was
remember
able
that very
to
specifically.
realize in an instant, and I don't know why it took so long to realize it. It wasn't because I was denying it or anything else, but all of a sudden I realized who I was and what she needed and what I was not giving her, and I was able to change that in an instant. The same thing can happen for leadership, right? I'm the leader of our family. So the same thing can happen as a leader of a company. You can realize in an instant what your people aren't getting from you and what they need to get from you.
Right.
And that's not necessarily, that's not to say what they say they aren't getting is what they need, right? Because a lot of people think they need something they don't. And they may say they need more support from you when actually they need more freedom, right? They may grow actually with a little bit more freedom than more hand-holding. So you have to figure out what they need, not what they say they need. I do want to give I want to give some credit back to Austin here for coming up with this topic, because where this whole thing starts, Anybody who's worked in a restaurant has probably stayed late on a shift to help out because they had a rush, right?
Yeah.
And so you stay late and you're like, oh, I'll just do this thing. Oh, I'll just do this thing. Oh, I'll just help you out over here. Oh, I don't have anything else going on. I'll just stay late and do this for you. And the next thing you know, you stayed 2 or 3 hours late. Guess what? The restaurant stayed open. And all this stuff. And eventually you're going to leave. And had you have left 2 or 3 hours earlier, guess what? Customers still would have been sat. Food still would have been made. Dishes still would have been washed. The restaurant's doors would still open tomorrow, right? So
would they have been as efficient? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Would they have been more efficient? Yeah, maybe.
Right.
Maybe you were a narcissist about it and a control freak about it, and
exactly.
Maybe those employees needed a little room to breathe because you were literally fucking suffocating them to death.
Right. And honestly, I think that's where, like, I mean, I'm not shitting you. As you're trying to become a really good leader, you're gonna be teetotaling along on the
teetotaling along. I like that. No, fuck no, it is now.
Teetotal. You're gonna be tiptoeing along on that boundary of like narcissist or effective leader, and if you're ever in that little gray area, always go with the side of giving your people more leash, giving your people more room. Right?
Yeah.
We learn from failure. And so the more you let your guys fail, the better your guys will be. And I don't mean guys in the like male,
you mean
female
people.
sense.
You just mean people.
Right.
So for all you freaking cancel culture people,
right.
it doesn't mean shit.
The
okay?
more
just
you
move
let
on.
them fail, the better they will learn, right? You learned everything you learned because you've done it wrong and you failed, and now you know how to do it right. We all learn that the stove's hot because we touch a hot stove.
Yep.
So you got to let your guys touch the hot stove. And it's kind of painful, but they learn, they figure it out, and they move on. So you need to do the same. It's just as much important for the guy to touch the hot stove as it is for you to let him do that. I can't stand the saying of like, oh, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself.
Yeah.
That's probably not true.
Well,
So
the nuance I'd like to add to that is it hits on the boundaries. So it wasn't like, for me, that situation happened to me, but it wasn't like, oh, they can't live without me. The angle that I had it was I had lack of boundaries, and I'm like, I didn't want them to think I'm like a bad leader, so I'll stay another hour and help out. So you can be an introvert and shy and a people pleaser, and that turns you into a narcissist.
well, and so that's
a good point, Austin.
Oh,
That's a whole next level of leadership.
That's good, man.
Right. That's a whole next level of leadership. Is your first level of leadership is thinking you're the head problem solver. Your next level of leadership is learning that it's your job to teach other people to solve the problems. And if you can teach other people to solve the problems, that's a really good leader, right? So it's not necessarily being the head problem solver. It's being the guy who facilitates the problems getting solved. Because,
That's well said.
Yeah, if you're the head problem solver, problems don't get solved unless you're there. And that's not a good thing, right? You want problems to be able to be solved even when you're gone.
No,
So-
business owners and then GMs. You hire a GM to be the problem solver.
And
Yeah.
you know what happened whenever I finally got fed up? I mean, this is a downward spiral.
Quit?
I quit out of the blue. Guess what happened?
Got it.
The restaurant still went on.
Yeah.
I quit like one of the busiest days of the year. I pulled up and I just didn't go into work. And the thing is, the business went on. I was replaced within like
They didn't know who you were.
24 hours.
Right.
They had someone in there for me.
Yeah, you had a false perception of how important you were at that place, right? And I'm not saying that bad way. It was so false it was actually hurting you. It was giving you undue stress. It was making you feel like
Yeah.
you weren't up to the task when really it wasn't that
Yeah,
important.
you were. You were doing a great job, just didn't know it.
Yeah.
I mean, even within, I was replaced like instantly. Like, oh, can someone stay late? Okay, like I was literally
Done.
Yeah, I was like filled, and so it's like all this stress of like, so that goes to show like, you know, it doesn't start off as boastful. Like the seed of narcissism could be, even if you're shy or an introvert,
Right.
that, you know, that idea creeps in.
And then just understanding that that seed of narcissism is also there's a fine boundary between narcissism and really good leaders. And you could be a really good leader and nothing close to a narcissist, but you'll still be called one by people who don't know the difference.
Well,
Yeah.
And how that grows too is like you stay because you want people to think you're a good leader. And then you see someone else who doesn't stay because they value your time. And then you start to think the next step is like, well, I'm better than them because I'm staying.
Yeah.
And that's how the seed grows.
Yeah.
You know?
Or maybe they're better than you because they value their family.
Yeah.
So, like,
Ouch.
you could kind of go either way. You know what I
Ouch.
mean?
I was still young and single and bachelor padding it up then. So
Lucky.
Yeah, no shit. Fuck you.
So,
Yeah.
Wrap it up, Mitch.
we ran long on this one, guys. We tried to keep them to an hour. This one was close to an hour 20, so we apologize for that. But
You know what? If you
it
don't
was
li-
good stuff.
If you don't like it, listen next week.
I don't
Yeah.
apologize.
How about that?
I'm actually banned from apologizing, so I do not apologize. So I add that in there.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
has. He's been banned from a lot of shit.
So I will throw a PSA out there. We do have an email address, askmitch@mitchsmedley.com. If you guys want to talk about anything, if you guys have some show topics or questions or anything, shoot us an email. We love to get feedback from our listeners. And so shoot us that email, askmitch@mitchsmedley.com, and we will get that email. And we always reply to the emails. If the questions are good enough, we might even make a show about them. So until next time, guys, we will see you later.
Love you guys.